The language we use in divorce determines the outcome. In divorce, like in any conflict, but especially in divorce, our communication determines the amount of capital we spend in money and emotion to get through this very trying process. When we look at divorce in terms of war, a legal battle, a custody battle, time to lawyer up, I'll bury you. I'll fight you every step of the way. This is what we hear, right? Well, when we hear that, we get war. Nice language, huh? No, not at all. We get in this war headspace when we use language like that. And when we're in the war headspace, we don't see clearly. We just see anger. We are highly emotional. When we're highly emotional, we don't make good decisions. We just feed the fire of anger and we spend way too much money on legal representation, although legal representation is important, absolutely important. But we don't need as many hours normally as we get when we're engaged in the quote unquote legal battle. And we have to go to court hearings that mostly become unnecessary if we learn the language skills to neutralize some of the anger. As we all know, if we have already been through divorce or are in it now or about to get in it, uh, divorce is one of the most emotional times in our lives. It's especially important to a productive outcome, especially if there are children, to remember this. The words we choose and the tone of voice we use means everything if we're in conflict, and it can make the conflict better or worse. It's all about the way we communicate. And isn't that funny? For better or worse? Yeah, the outcome is for better or worse in divorce, just like in marriage. And it all depends on our communication. And quite typically, one of the biggest reasons for divorce is the way we communicate with one another. I mean, think about it. Think about it in terms of your own divorce. Could it have been any different? Either the length of the marriage or transitioning out of the marriage if we were able to communicate with each other better, you know? Um, I learn the lessons of communication every single day in my divorce practice. And I use the communication remedy to help my clients change the trajectory of their divorcing relationship. So we have a relationship that exists in order to get married. Then we have a relationship in marriage. And then we still have a relationship in divorce. And so it's the way we take care of that relationship that really matters. You know, we're so nice and accommodating to each other when we're dating, right? Well, generally, I mean, if you're arguing when you're dating, you have no business getting married. But if you're not arguing when you're dating and you only start arguing when you're married, well, why? What happened? Why aren't you nice to one another? Why did the communication change? And, you know, just as a sidebar here, when I was married and then as I go through my divorce practice, I always say, when did it change? When did we become disrespectful to one another? Why do we become disrespectful to one another? And that just whittles away, chips away, erodes the relationship when we're mean, when we're domineering, when we're not respectful, not kind, not empathetic. But when did that change? I mean, that's a whole nother podcast, but think about that. As you're looking at taking my tips to change your communication, think about when the communication changed. Was there an event? Did something change inside of you? Did you become too comfortable and too familiar with each other? When did habits start annoying you? If you can go back to that, maybe that'll help you change the communication now if the divorce has to happen. So just think about that a minute. So our communication matters when we're in conflict. So let me give you two short examples. I'm going to give you an example of when you tell your spouse that you want a divorce and it's not received well. Here's how you can handle it. I'd like to talk to you about our marriage. It hasn't been going good for a while, and I'd like to see how you feel about possibly separating and eventually divorcing. Look at me. My whole body language is changing while I'm talking about this. These are very uncomfortable conversations. Yes, they are. So here's the adverse reaction from your spouse, especially if you have a spouse that's kind of a bully or domineering or is very quick to anger. They'll say something like, "Oh, you'll never get away with it. I won't allow it. No, no, it'll be a complete legal battle. You want war? You've got war. Oh, no. And you know what? You'll get nothing. I'm taking everything. I'm even having full custody of the kids." Quite a statement, right? So this is being fired at you like bullets coming at you. Brace yourself before you even open your mouth, before you even have this conversation. You know your spouse well enough to know how this might go. So here's your response. Suggestions. I hear you. I hear you. That's it. That's all you have to say. I hear you. What do you mean you hear me? Are you okay with? I'll take the kids. You'll get nothing. And, why don't you just move out of the house now? I hear you, meaning I understand you're angry. I understand that you don't want me to have anything. You don't want me to have a relationship with the children. I hear that. But we're going to be involving legal professionals, and they're going to talk to us about process, law, all of that. And so for myself, I'm just going to choose to wait and let's have the legal professionals weigh in. Oh, no, I know what's going to happen. No, no, no. I will get what I want. I'll make sure I get what I want. I'll hire a lawyer that hurts you more than you can possibly know. I hear you. That's it. Your spouse doesn't know anything more about the law than you do right now, right? No, they're just angry. They're just firing stuff. Well, Judy, you're thinking, I know my spouse well enough. He or she will do what they say they're going to do. Okay, but that's still not the law. So when you eventually go to court, the law presides. So let me continue here. I want another example. This is an example of pre-divorce. This is an example of an interesting situation with a family and how on a daily basis, if you're not engaged in divorce quite yet, you can neutralize things. So family of four, I love telling this story. It's a real story, actually. Family of four, Sunday, piano recital for the 5-year-old. There's also a 3-year-old. The notice has been on the refrigerator where all communication sits with families, with children. The notice for when the recital is, what time rehearsal is, and what time the recital starts, been on the refrigerator for weeks. Both parents, by the way, have taken their child to the piano recital, piano lesson, so they both know where the event is going to take place in piano teacher's house. Mom and the two kids are in the car in the driveway at the appointed time to leave. Dad is nowhere around. Mom calls upstairs to Dad and says, "Hey, honey, we're in the car outside. Time to leave." "Oh, you know what? I'll be down," Dad says, "in about 20 minutes. I'm going to take a shower." Now, Mom is at a crossroads. Mom could easily flip her gourd, start screaming at Dad. "What are you talking about? You've known all along. You always do this. We're always late because of you." Well, that wouldn't have bode well for the daughter, the pianist, and everybody would have been upset. And it would have been a huge fight. And then you go to the piano recital, and you could tell the parents are fighting with each other, and it's like not a good scene, correct? Mom chose to do this instead. Honey, that's okay. You take your time. You work hard every day. This is a Sunday. I want you to be calm and comfortable. We'll just meet you there. If we wait 20 minutes, we're going to be late for the rehearsal, and we can't do that. So you know where it is. You've been there, but the exact address is on the refrigerator, and we look forward to seeing you. Neutralized everything. Neutralized everything. It didn't make dad right. It just made the kids comfortable. I mean, mom was putting the kids first. And by the way, mom didn't get upset. I mean, maybe she was raging inside, but honestly, if you're at a point where you can have that type of response, you're now in the power seat. You are in control. And this is what I want you to consider when things come up in your divorce and you're being bullied and threatened. If you keep calm, if you really get communication skills, and I can work with any of you on this separately, even if you're represented by an attorney, I can work with you on communication. I love working with people on communication, but please know this puts you in the power seat. This does not make you weak. Don't even go there. This puts you in the power seat. Nobody expects somebody to provide an answer like that. Oh, honey, you know what? You go ahead. You work hard every day. Take your time. We look forward to seeing you. You're now in the power seat. You're dominating now, and you're dominating in a really nice way. You're not flipped out. You're not exhausted. This doesn't take a toll on the lines in your forehead. Therefore, less Botox after these events. Got to think about things like this. We have to look our best in divorce. All right, where am I at? It only takes one person in the conflict to change the tone of the argument from verbal battle to divorce decisions. That's it, verbal battle to divorce decisions. And if you do need a judge to make final decisions, because with all of your efforts and attempts to neutralize the anger, he or she is still flipped out, well, then fine, it is what it is. At least you've done your part to calm the situation, spend less emotional capital, and possibly less money calling your attorney. Your attorney will appreciate it too. If you have a really good attorney, they're not looking to make every cent possible on you. They really do want things to work out well. They want you to enjoy them providing legal services for you and refer them if they're business minded. If they try and soak you for every cent, you have the wrong attorney. The judge, if you have to go to court, will follow the law regarding assets and debts. That's the easy part. It's just when it comes to co-parenting schedules and custody that judges can go a little rogue. Co-parenting and custody can be a gray area with judicial discretionary decision making that shocks litigants at times. It really does. I mean, you can have therapists come in and give their estimation about, where the kids should be mostly, and judges may not pay attention, may not consider the therapist important. Honestly, this is really a tough area, custody and co-parenting. So strap in for that ride. Um, and really, it's because I think, my opinion, judges aren't in your house. It's easy with assets and debts because the law is really specific. In states, in community property states, it's kind of basically the monies you make on your jobs are community property dollars. Therefore, anything purchased or acquired with monies on our jobs from date of separation, date of marriage to date of separation creates community property. That's easy stuff. It's the decisions that involve human feelings, and certainly co-parenting and custody, it's about human feelings. That's where it's hard for judges. And if they're not in your house looking at you and actually seeing what the relationship is between each parent and the child, I mean, they're kind of at a loss, and they just do the best they can. So That's kind of the insecure area if you have to go to court, in my opinion, with custody. Lastly, the intention we have at the onset of the divorce lays the foundation for the outcome. I discussed this in my TEDx talk, The Secrets to an Amicable Divorce. Try and be the leader in communication and good behavior in the divorce while still requesting what you want and what you need for the most appropriate and the best outcome for you and your spouse and your children. You know, the secrets to an amicable divorce. The intention at the beginning of the divorce, if you intend to make it good and healthy and right, stick to it. Regardless of the behavior of your spouse, stick to it. Because it still will be better than if both of you are fighting. And it's the language of divorce. You know, the words we choose, it's just so important. I can't stress upon you the words we choose and the tone of voice we use. It means everything. And if you can have a soothing tone of voice, even when you're saying things that are tough, like, well, I do think the children are better off with me more of the time during the week, not because of who you are, but because of the available time you have, something like that. Not, listen, I'm with them all the time. And of course they should go with me. No, don't do that. Don't get that harsh tone to your voice. But you can be specific and serious. And that thing about catching flies with honey, not vinegar. It really does matter in divorce, how you do that. So the language of divorce determines the outcome of divorce. So keep that in mind as you're working your way through one of the most difficult things you have to do in life, and that's divorce. So thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please comment if you have anything to say. If you want me to approach another topic that I haven't, or reapproach a topic that I have because you want to hear more about it, happy to do so. You can reach me at judith@theamicableddivorceexpert.com, or go to my website, divorceresourceinc.com, and contact me through the website. And as always, I wish you an amicable day.